Hello, this is Lenard de Guzman here on the Life After D podcast with Emily Robinson on our Halloween October episode. I think this is like the start of it's October 2nd right now. So we got the Halloween theme going.
It's my
What are you
birthday
gonna be?
month.
What are you gonna be? Did you decide what you're gonna be for Halloween?
Well, there's not probably going to be trick or treating this year, but I may just, do a little home party with my kids. I don't know. My kids want to do, they keep going back and forth about themed costumes. My son wanted to do Scooby Doo because our dog looks like Scooby Doo. So maybe we'll do a family theme, but maybe not. We might just, I don't know what I'll be in. Oh, something easy, and my kids will be like probably something from Minecraft and Frozen.
Minecraft, okay, yeah, that's Minecraft. I've been meaning to play that game. It's like a game that takes a lot of time.
my
I'm
my 8-year-old is obsessed with it.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to do the pumpkin bake off. Like I don't know whether I got this mix. It's like a pumpkin muffin mix. So I can either make a loaf or cupcakes. So that's what I got to work on here. So
This is my favorite time of year for food. I love pumpkin everything. I love all the Thanksgiving foods. I love eggnog, which is going to start coming back soon. So, and it's my birthday month and my mom's birthday and my husband's birthday. So it's a big month.
oh, happy birthdays coming
Thank
up.
you.
So
Uh,
let's get let's get to the news here. The divorce news. This part of the show, we're gonna go over the news. Um, Mostly on the news feeds, it's celebrity divorces. Some new stuff. So on today's news, we got Dr. Dre. He came up on TMZ again. He's going through a messy divorce. So from TMZ, Dr. Dre wins legal battle. Nicole, his ex-wife, says she's getting death threats. So here's how it goes. Dr. Dre just won a battle in court. The judge in their divorce case just rejected Nicole's request for 1.5 million to pay for various expenses, including security. And the judge rejected her request to accelerate her claim that Dre should pay 5 million for her lawyer's fees and other costs. Nicole's lawyers were in court this morning telling the judge Nicole needs 1.5 million for security because she's been receiving death threats. The money would also go for other expenses. Some of the people commenting on the divorce have said things like, if she dies, she dies. For a small fee, she could disappear.
wow. Well, that's scary. I mean, that does happen because these are public figures. And so they do sometimes get threats and things like that. So you have to be really careful. It's there could be many reasons why a judge would deny a request like that. Um, you don't hear all the details from the court papers. Maybe she already has a lot of security, so that's an unnecessary added expense. Maybe that's just a very ridiculous amount for security. Maybe the judge awarded some security, but not that much. So there could be a lot of reasons. I would love if a judge wanted to give me $5 million for legal fees, but that is a lot. So unless the judge thinks that there is good cause why a case would cost that much, a judge is not going to award that much in legal fees. A judge will typically order the higher earner to pay some of the lower earner's fees, but not that much necessarily. And one of the problems with having a judge order one side to pay the other side's full fees can be that that side has no incentive to stop litigating. They're just going to keep going and going because they're being bankrolled by someone. So it's important that both sides take some responsibility in their case.
Yeah, it's like paying for your own demise, I think. Like I pay for my like HOA, and they send me a notice that I have to paint my house or my door, and so I'm paying for them to patrol my door that I have to pay out of pocket. So it's kind of, you know,
You're paying for them to charge you more.
yeah, it keeps growing. Okay, uh, on to our next article by this is from the New York Times. Considering a corona divorce, you're in good company. A lot of families are going to need restructuring by the time this is over. They probably needed it before. One of the few good things about a deadly pandemic is that if you're a person who enjoys talking on the phone, as I am, this is by articles by Kim Brooks. She's a writer. Okay, so you will now have a lot of time to do this, far more than you did in your regular life. When I was a teenager, it was always a challenge for me to find time and space for phone calls. So if we skip down, let's see. Okay, maybe I should get a divorce too. A few of my still married friends have said during our pandemic phone calls just to get a few hours alone. Some of them are joking, some of them are half joking, some are not joking at all. It's too soon to say for sure what effect the pandemic will have on divorce rates. I know there are many couples that are going through hard times and just can't afford to split up. But my lawyer, a very nice woman who's trying to maintain her law practice while raising 3 children who have been remote schooling for the past 6 months, says that for her, business is booming. When I asked her if people find it depressing when she tells them what she does, she said, "I don't call myself a divorce lawyer. I say that I work in family restructuring."
Oh, that's funny. That's like one of those euphemisms for, you know, what you actually do. Like, I'm just vertically challenged when I want to tell people that I'm short. Yeah, I think we are seeing that the pandemic is having an effect on increasing the divorce rates. But it's true, like you may file for divorce and you're still going to be stuck in the house with that person for the next year because no one can afford 2 households. Just filing for divorce doesn't mean someone's going to get out of the house. And typically, the judge won't make them leave the house because it is both people's houses. So unless you're going to leave voluntarily or there's domestic violence, you may be stuck living together even if you do file for divorce, especially during COVID.
I don't know, like this COVID thing is like I've come into the like conclusion that either like under 5 years or over 5 years. So it's for me. I don't know. How this all ends. So yeah.
Well, I hope it's under.
Okay. Here's an article from Fox News. I don't know. Fox News, this whole thing, I don't really trust what comes out of it, but this survey that comes out, it says Americans say moving is more stressful than divorce. Having children, a survey claims. The survey found the average moving cost was over $1,500. If you had to choose, what would you say the most stressful event in life is? A new survey found that it's not having kids or even starting a job, but rather moving. The survey asked 1,000 Americans who moved within the last 3 years about their experience and the growing pains that come with moving on, whether they did their most recent move themselves or hired a moving service. 45% respondents said moving is by far the most stressful event in life. Next in line for most stressful events was going through a breakup or divorce at 44%. Conducted by one poll on behalf of North American van lines, the survey found 64% of respondents said their most recent move was the most stressful things they've experienced.
Well, that could be. I've moved many, many times, and it is very stressful. Packing up an entire house with children and pets is not fun at all. But it would be really hard for me to believe it's more stressful than divorce. I mean, first of all, it's done in unless you're moving states or something, all my moves have had to be done in like 2 days because you're closing escrow on one house and opening escrow on another house, or ending one lease and starting another lease. So the stress of packing and stuff and moving, yeah, that could last for like a while, but not typically as long as a divorce, which could take years. I find the process of like getting your offers accepted on houses to be really stressful, but that's always been way more stressful than the actual move to me. So that may be true, but it would be very hard for me to believe.
Well, it's like a double whammy because when you get divorced, you're gonna move.
Well,
One
that's
of the
true too.
person, yeah.
Sometimes both. Yeah, exactly. So you get both stresses.
Yeah, double whammy. Okay. From SFG. See, there's this like Dear Abby. So Dear Abby, divorce still fresh, but take love slow. Like, I wonder who this Abby is. Like I I've seen this Dear Abby a lot. Like they write to Abby.
I think Abby has changed over the years. who answers for Abby?
Okay, okay. So Dear Abby, I'm recently divorced after a 19-year marriage, and to my great shock, I already find myself in love with another man. I didn't come out of the marriage looking for anyone, nor did I think I'd ever marry again, but this man wants to marry me and I'm seriously considering it. We bonded when he contacted me to offer support after he heard about my divorce, and it was love at second sight. Why second? Because we grew up together, literally next door, and he's my first cousin. Despite the societal taboo, it is legal in my state for first cousins to marry, and genetic issues with offspring aren't a concern. We're both sterile and have no ability or desire for more children. My siblings suspect and aren't pleased with the situation. His parents know and are happy for us. I am crazy to think I'm in love again this quickly. It doesn't feel too fast because we've always known each other and been close. It's just the form of love has changed. How do we break it to the rest of the family, the world? People can be so judgmental, even though in many parts of the world it's perfectly normal to marry your cousin. Secret love in the South. That was a plot twist.
Wow. Well, that is true. I have heard in some places it is legal to marry your first cousin. It's probably not so great for the family dynamic. I don't know how you would break something like that to your family. Hopefully, Dear Abby knows. But, you know, if it's legal and they're not going to have kids and there's no incest issues, I guess go for it. But I can't imagine the family reacting well to that. Like, that's a little strange, you know, for most of us. But if it's legal, I suppose it's okay.
Yeah, the hard ones with the hard ones.
But it's like, what happens if you divorce? You can't, like, it's not, you know, like, it's not like you can just try to not talk to them. They're in the same family. You're gonna go to the family dinners, and your parents are probably brother and sister, brother and brother, sister and sister. So it seems like it would make for a very awkward situation.
Just stay married forever. I think that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The next, for page6.com, Army Hammer calls divorce from wife seriously systemic event. Army Hammer admits that his split from his wife Elizabeth Chambers has not been easy. I don't think you'll find anyone in the world who would say that I'm going through what I'm going through is an easy thing to go through. The 34-year-old actor told British GQ, "It's not about whether it was your idea or not, whether you think it's the right idea or you don't. Either way, a separation like this is a seriously systemic event in someone's life. There's a lot of shifting and a lot of growing pains and a lot of changes. Change is a universal constant. I mean, change is not a bad thing, but that doesn't mean it's painless." This guy's in every movie. I mean, he feels it too.
Yeah. I mean, celebrities aren't, exempt from having the same feelings we have, and they're people. They're going to have the same rejection feelings. And a lot of times people think, well, if you're the one leaving, it's going to affect you less as opposed to the one who is being left. But a lot of emotions come with being the leaving one too. You feel guilty, you second guess yourself, you carry this burden of feeling like you split up the family. Like there's a lot of negative emotions that come with that too. So it's not easy by any stretch. And then when you're a celebrity and there's a lot more money involved and a lot more press and public opinion, you already probably are going through a lot to then have to have the public's opinion on everything that you're doing. That's really hard too.
Yes, I agree. All right, in this part of the show, we're going to go over some posts of what people have posted online, maybe get some advice from Emily, maybe get some suggestions on, how to improve their life. Yeah, let's get to them. This first one, anyone realize your ex dated down for you? I, 35-year-old female, had the perfect partner, 36-year-old male, and it was clear he dated down for me. His new relationship is so much better, and he left when he finally realized he was settling for me. My ex is a successful scientist and doctor. He has multiple degrees. He makes great money. He's at the top of his field and has an amazing career track record. He isn't just smart, he's attractive, like extremely attractive and kind and thoughtful, and an amazing dad. He was a loving and supportive. He has a loving and supportive family. He was a perfect husband. He cared for me in all the ways that was needed. He was funny. No one ever made me laugh. He literally has very few flaws. Over 17 years, he was consistently the best man he could be. Let's see. On the other hand, I grew up in a trashy family. My dad was a drug addict and dealer. My mom was an alcoholic. We were constantly evicted growing up. Let's see. I get awful anxiety and depression and PTSD because of the childhood abuse. Let's see. Let's go down here. When I was with him, I felt like maybe I was finally accepted. I was able to fit in. I was no longer the trashy girl whose family was full of addicts. Go down. He and his family no longer talk to me because I'm not good enough, and I can see why. I've been completely blocked from the family, the family I grew to rely on. He's now dating this gorgeous pediatric nurse who is successful and smart, has a good family. My kids love her. She is a better mom to them than I am. It hurts. How do you face the reality that you were the problem in the relationship?
Well, that's a really sad post. To me, it sounds like that person has severe self-confidence issues. And, obviously this is from her perspective, but I'm sure like half of that is not accurate. That may be how she feels because she feels left and she feels abandoned and she is not feeling good about herself. But I'm sure most of that stuff isn't true, and that she's a very good mom and a very adequate partner. She really needs to have therapy to address these issues. If she's feeling that badly about herself, she's got to address that, because one, it's not healthy. Two, your kids sense that. Your kids sense that, they pick up on it, and they may start developing those unhealthy emotions about themselves. So I really hope she gets the help that she needs.
But isn't it good if someone's like, she said, dating down or marrying, that like it's kind of like if I don't know, like I'd feel lucky. I don't know, like,
well,
in a way.
She felt lucky when she was with him, and now that he's gone, she feels like really bad about herself. I think, yes, it's a good thing to think you got lucky and your spouse is, what, I don't know what the appropriate word is.
It's
I guess
subjective anyway.
moving up, like you're
Yeah.
moving up in the world being with that person. You want to feel that way about your spouse and to love them. But I don't think it's healthy to feel so much of a gap that you're always worried about them leaving you. And if they do leave you, you think, oh, it's all me, they're perfect and I'm terrible. That's not a healthy view. So to think, yeah, I got lucky meeting this person, that's one thing. But to think, I'm all the problem and they're perfect, that is not healthy. Nobody's perfect.
Okay. All right, this is our last post of the day. Things are moving fast here. Next post, my regret that I stayed too long. He thinks that I tore apart our life for basically no reason. He thinks I'm going to regret it, but right now the only thing I regret is not having left sooner, or having suffered this verbal abuse, anger, and controlling behavior for almost a decade because I had to give it my all and don't just give up on the marriage. I regret voluntarily giving up so much of myself and my dreams to a man who couldn't give me respect. I'm moving back in with my parents. I make $20,000 a year. I'll probably never have biological children because my age. I gave him the majority of our assets in the divorce filings, but I'm so effing grateful. I'm grateful that I never have to give him another decade of my life again.
Well, I like that it ends with what, she's grateful for, because that's important. Got to look at the positives. Look, it's hard, and life's hard, and it's unfair in a lot of ways, but it's better to not focus on the past and look at what happened and, regret it. It's better to learn from that so you can move forward and make, new happy memories. And if she wants kids, she can adopt. She can do many things aside from having biological kids if she feels like she can't. It's just important to think about the future, move forward, try to find a happy future, not just dwell on the past, because that will just make you miserable.
Okay. That's good. That's all the time we have for this week on the Life After D podcast. Things are starting to get better. Things are opening up.
Life is getting
Fires
a little
are going
bit
down.
It's getting a little back to normal. Courts are open. Schools may be opening up soon, hopefully, in our area, which would be great. I heard playgrounds might open soon. All this makes me happy for my kids. So I'm just hoping things keep getting better. And as always, if you have questions or you have a topic you want to discuss, you can reach out to us on our YouTube channel, Facebook page, LinkedIn, Spotify. We're all over.
Okay, so next week, tune in and we'll go over this again.
Bye.